Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. It's going to be a beautiful Sunday. We're looking forward to continuing to teach you from the book of Acts, going back to Apollos, the man that God called the waterer, a very eloquent man. Paul was the planter, Apollos was the waterer. Both had very valid ministries. But right now I want us to go back to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 8. I'm very concerned as I get copies of blogs that people send to me and copies of internet things that people send to me, and there is a great amount of false doctrine out there in the world today, and there's a great amount of people out there that have distorted the message of prosperity and distorted the teachings on giving and receiving. But Paul was a prosperity preacher. In 2 Corinthians 8, Paul says, "And now, brothers, we want you to know about the grace that God has given the Macedonian churches, the poorest province in all of the Roman Empire. By grace, out of their most severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. For I testify that they gave as much as they were able, and even beyond their ability. They urgently pleaded with us for this privilege of sharing in this service to the saints." Now look on down to verse 7. "But just as you excel in everything, in faith and speech and knowledge and complete earnestness and in your love for us, see that you also excel in this grace of giving." I'm a prosperity preacher. I'm not a preacher of avarice. I'm not a preacher who uses the doctrines to exploit people and enrich myself. We take the seed that people sow and use it to take care of people and to build the kingdom. But at the same time, brothers and sisters, I think some of you need to quit paying so much attention to the blogs and to the negative stories and to the weirdos. Because what will happen is it will affect your heart about your giving. Now, if you're going to build a future in life, you have to learn. Give and you shall receive. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That's what Jesus taught. The gospel must be preached to the poor. God sent Paul to Macedonia, and he preached and he started churches there. And now he goes to the poorest area and receives an offering to bless the church in Jerusalem. And forgive me, from Macedonia, Philippi, and Thessalonica, while Paul was preaching in per capita, what is often called the richest city in all of the Roman Empire, Corinth, it was the churches in poverty who supported him to preach to the rich people. Now that's fascinating. Paul was a prosperity preacher, not an avarice preacher. Paul knew that Jesus came to change people's lives and give them hope and a future. I want to challenge you today. Don't get taken advantage of by these people who want to exploit you and enrich themselves. But at the same time, you need to learn to be a tither. You need to learn to be a giver. Generosity will bring blessing to your life.